Hey, it's me, and I have a friend today. Listen to it. This is a Russian nesting doll. It's blank right now, so it kind of just looks like a fat bowling pin. Now, I know the one in the thumbnail. It was, not this one. That's because thumbnails have to be eye-catching, and this is not very eye-catching.
You're nothing.
Don't feel tricked. That does not fall under the category of clickbait. Unlike many of the things that I choose to paint on, this one you're actually supposed to paint on. I have done this once before, but with a much smaller doll. Yeah, I'm not gonna show you the insides of this one. If you wanna see how I finished the rest of that design, you have to watch the video. That one has 5 dolls inside of it. This one has 10. That's 5. 10. 10, my friend. That's 1. That's 2.
Hey!
3, 4, 5, 6. 7's a little wobbly. And so is 8. 9. Oh my gosh. This is freaking ridiculous. 10. This...
It's tiny.
Okay, it's a tooth. How am I gonna paint this? Kinda just wanna flick it. This is going to be a big project. This is gonna take me forever. Why did I need to get one twice the size? I don't know. Got a lot of work to do? Let's get to it. All right, so here is the big mama, and we're just gonna make her birth all the rest of the dolls over again, even though we've literally just gone through this, and we arrive at the tiniest one.
So small.
But then I sat there and counted them. Why are there only 9?
Oh no.
No! How did I forget
About you.
It's about the same size as the end of my dotting tool. How is that gonna work?
It's gonna be fun.
Here is the whole family naked together for one last time. That sounds weird. And barreling in, it's gesso. Starting with the biggest one, I'm gonna gesso each of these so I can be sure that when I go to paint them, the colors are nice and strong and the paint is adhering to the surface properly. Okay, next. And right away, this one is so much smaller than the first one. I feel like it could have been a little bit more of a gradual decrease in size, but it goes from the giant one to one that's like half the size. Like, this is already kind of smallish. As they get smaller and smaller, it's getting more and more difficult to paint them. Even keep a hold of them. Also, I'm just getting more and more paint all over my hands. At this point, I might as well just apply the paint with my fingers. My paintbrush is now starting to feel very oversized. Okay, that's better. This is not satisfying to watch at all. It's frustrating. And finally, the tiny one. Oh, you're so small, it makes me mad. I really don't know how else to paint this. Well, that was a mess. All the pieces are now gessoed, so I'm just gonna put them all back together, do a quick head count. Everyone here? Good, good, yes. Okay, we're gonna work this project one doll at a time and try not to think about the fact that there are 10 of them and they get annoyingly smaller. I am just lightly sketching out my design here. I'm not gonna be doing anything super intricate because, you know, 10 of them. I needed to find a balance between doing something that's interesting and fun, but not so incredibly detailed that I'm gonna be doing this for the rest of my life. Okay, I think we're ready for the paint now. Oh, and you're rolling. Here we go. Oh. Right. First brush stroke, and I've already messed things up. The pink is supposed to go down here. There we go. So my last set of Russian nesting dolls, I did animals in fruit costumes.
You still gotta watch that video to see them.
This time I've decided on blobs in costumes. There's no theme for the costumes. The ideas for those are all different and they get a little bit random, but for the biggest one, I decided to go for one of my tried and true themes. It's a dessert themed costume. Now, I chose blobs because I've been obsessed with them recently, but also I thought that they would work particularly well for this since Russian nesting dolls are kind of in a blobby shape. After my last Russian nesting doll set, a lot of you wanted to see me make a set using my characters, but I was having a hard time envisioning how to fit them into this shape without making them look super odd. I could of course paint these things called human beings.
People.
because that's what traditional Russian nesting dolls are. Maybe I will do some people nesting dolls. In general, I'm more of a food, animal, blob kind of person, not much of a person. Also, I did have some very angry people last time. Angry because I'm painting cutesy designs on Russian nesting dolls. I've been accused of disgracing tradition. You disgrace tradition with your so-called art. I never thought a pair of quotation marks could be so hurtful. Don't get me wrong, I do think the traditional style for nesting dolls is really pretty. I'm in no way trying to make a statement that my so-called art is better than the traditional art style, but this is my style. It's just kind of what I do here. This is not evil, okay? So I've gotten the background paint work done. Time for the details. I've given this blob a nice little cherry to hold on to. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of dimension to that and going around adding some shadows here and there. Let's add a little blush to ya.
Get your face on, girl.
Dropping some juicy highlights to make things pop. Then literally get your face on, girl. Putting her face on, she's gonna be a nice happy blob, but you know how these blobs can be. They are very moody, so don't expect all of them to be as nice as this one. And I'm realizing this almost does look like a human, a very pink human, which makes it kind of weird and a little bit confusing. And of course, I'm not gonna miss an opportunity for sprinkles. Alrighty, looking good. Just some last little details I need to add here. And yes, first doll, blob in a dessert costume. Let's pop that open and move on to the next one, which is, of course, such an incredible size difference. Why aren't you bigger? You know, it's just that the bigger ones are so much easier to paint on and you can get cleaner details. I don't know why they didn't try to keep them as large as possible for as long as possible, but I need to stop complaining about that now because you don't care. I need to get into the painting part, which is the fun part. I might as well enjoy it because it only gets worse from here. I said I would stop complaining. Okay, I'm painting this one black, which is always very fun to do because that beautiful coverage of black paint, there's just nothing like it. I'm covering the whole body with a black background except for the little area that I've sketched out, which is going to be where the face and little blob hands are. This blob is going to be wearing the galaxy.
What?
It's a galaxy costume. So let's prepare some galaxy colors. And I'm just gonna create that nice typical galaxy look with the splotching and, you know, we've all seen this before. Trying to create some nice variation in there with some areas kind of blending into the background and then putting some highlights in other areas to create that illusion of depth that we really want in a galaxy look. And hey, this is your final reminder that my Rubik's Cube is available for pre-order. There are only a couple days left before this is ending officially, so this is the last opportunity to grab a limited edition Rubik's Cube. I'm so grateful for all your feedback and excitement, and for those of you who have ordered one. Remember, you can find the order page in the link in the description, as well as answers to any questions that you may have about the pre-order. That's all. For the blob itself, I went for a nice lavender color, skin color. Do blobs have skin? What are blobs made of? I'll ponder that one later. While that layer is drying, I'll just pop on some little stars to finish off the galaxy design. I thought it would be cute to give each of the blobs these little accessories to hold that goes with their costume theme, just as a way to make the designs a little bit more detailed and interesting. This blob has a face full of wonder because I thought, you know, that was fitting for the blob in the galaxy costume. I guess this is just the facial expression that goes with galaxy. Okay, is this done? I think we need to add just some little stars. Perfect. And hey, did I scare ya? Moving on to the next one. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, I hate it. And playing the drums now. Stop wasting time. Come on. This one is going to start with a coat of white paint. So let's just try to get through this real quick. Okay, bringing it back together. And here is the design for this one. I'm going with another pink blob.
We've already done a pink blob.
I'm aware that this is not ideal. I wanted to do a perfect variety of colors of blobs, but it was quite the balancing act to choose the perfect balance of blob color, which has to go with the costume costume color, which has to be different than the blob and costume color of the blob and costume that come before and after it, which has to contrast with their neighboring blob and costume color. I spent a lot of time trying to work all that out. This blob is getting a cow costume. I don't know, I just thought it would be cute. At first I wasn't exactly sure what the cow costume blob should be holding. A pail of milk? Is that kind of gross to be holding a bucket of your own bodily fluid? It's kind of gross that we drink bodily fluids at all, but I really just try not to think about that. I would like to continue adding milk to my cereal, or cereal to my milk. Whatever, the order really doesn't matter, even though some people try to act like it does. But anyway, stepped away from the milk idea, and I landed on the bell, which I thought was a little bit cuter, and we are already in detail mode here, starting to outline the face and hands. I call these hands, but they're not really hands. What do you call blob hands? As you can see, I've chosen a very peeved face for this one. I don't think he likes that he's the one being put in the cow costume. We had the first blob as yummy dessert, and then, ooh, cool, galaxy. And then there's you, dressed as a cow. Okay, now, move out of the way. Nope. And here's the next one. For this one, I'm going with a candy theme. Let me just rip you in half real quick. And I'm gonna start with a pink background color. I'm doing light pink on the top piece, and then I'm gonna put darker pink on the bottom piece. That little lip I'm holding this by, it's pretty small at this point, but keep holding on. We still got much smaller to go. Once the paint is dry from that layer, I'm gonna start blending the two pinks together. I'm trying to keep the pieces together so that I can get a seamless gradient, but also keep the little crack open so I don't seal the pieces together with the paint. And going back and forth with that forever, to the point where I got such a gradual transition, it's kind of not even noticeable. Well, that was time well spent. Let's move on to the face. And it's blue. We've got a blue blob holding a lollipop, and I'm doing this one in kind of a different order. I'm filling in all the details of the hands, yes, and face first, and I'll get to the costume later. And the face on this one is going to be a very hyper face. This is what it looks like for a blob to experience a sugar rush. For the costume, I basically just did polka dots all the way around. I guess they're kind of like little candies, but I didn't add much detail to them because I'm running out of room for tons of details. So I would really rather have something clean and simple. There's that one. Let's move on. Yeah, we're getting pretty small here. I'm trying to show the scale. It's small. This one is going to be painted blue. And oh boy, yep, this is where it starts to get annoying. I don't know if it's normal to hate painting at super small sizes so much like I do. I know that some people do enjoy it, but I've always found painting super tiny to be very frustrating. Maybe it's because of my fat fingers. This one is also getting the gradient look, so I'm blending the two tones of blue together, and it's gonna be a yellow blob. The face is kind of like the sunshine. Not in the creepy Teletubby way. This blob is wearing a sky costume, which is, now that I think about it, what are these costumes? Like, who dresses up like the sky? You know what I'm gonna be for Halloween this year? The sky. You'll see. I'm gonna make it a thing. And of course, since it's a sky theme, this blob is holding a rainbow. Just adding the outline. I made the face, sleeping. It's the sun. Shouldn't it be awake? Whatever. Nothing makes sense. All right, there's that little cutie. Oh, look at that. An even smaller blob-shaped doll. Shocker. And it's running around. Oh, okay. The sketch is on now. What was that? And this one is a blob wearing a burger costume. Since this is so small, I'm kind of ditching the paint altogether, and I'm just gonna drain this whole thing with Poscas instead of trying to use a paintbrush. And while painting on this small of a scale isn't my favorite, I think I've been very clear about that.
Yes!
These little ones did go by pretty fast. They didn't take me that long, so it was really fine. I was only miserable for a small period of time. Also, you may notice by now that this one is not holding an accessory. There's really just not enough space for it, and I think if I had tried to cram it in there, it would have been cluttering up that area too much. So I decided to just have the accessories for the 5 larger ones, and for the 5 tiny ones, they get nothing. It's a goofy burger blob, and it's complete. And who do we have here? Oh my gosh, there's so many of these. This one is a little bit bigger than my thumbnail, so I'm trying to get clever here and find a better way of holding this while I paint paint. That's not gonna work. How about this? I tried that for a little while, but it wasn't a whole lot better. Gave up on that. I think this is just going to be messy. You're just gonna have to get over it, okay? That's me talking to myself. This one is another little gradient background, and this yellow blob is going to be in a slime costume. So I've drawn the little tiny green drips of slime all around it, and I'm giving him a very annoyed expression because he's got slime dripping into his eyes, and it's annoying. Next, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get much detail on this one at all, so I really need to choose something very simple. I'm having trouble just making a face this small. I decided to just go with it and make his face really derpy on purpose. I knew it was going to be slightly derpy anyway. Purposeful derp is always better than accidental derp. Remember that. He doesn't look like the most intelligent creature ever, which is pretty fitting because he's wearing a potato. Okay, and this is the last opening one, and I feel like I've already gone as simple as I can with the costume designs. A potato, you don't get much simpler than that. So I decided that this one is just going to be a naked blob. He's too small for a costume. They don't make them in your size. So it's just a purple blob naked. And now finally for the last one. It looks like a wart. I really had no idea how to paint this one. So this is random, but I just decided to make it a strawberry. I don't know what to tell you. I felt like a strawberry was the only thing I could paint that small. I thought about throwing it away and pretending that it wasn't a thing, but I couldn't bring myself to do that. So there it is. I'm having a hard time controlling it. So now that everyone has been painted, I'm going to varnish them. Definitely want to take them apart for this because the varnish will glue the pieces together if you're not careful. Once that whole process is over, they are done. Here is the complete set. These designs and honestly the whole idea is a little bit odd, but I think they came out nice. Definitely not everyone's taste. I think they're fun and they have a lot of variety and enough detail to make each one of them interesting. So of course we have to experience opening each one of them up because that is so satisfying. Ugh, I love nesting dolls, and with these, each time you open one up, it's like a surprise. There's something new, except it's not all that surprising because, you know, I just spent the last week painstakingly creating every detail of them. I complained a lot about it, but I even like how the small ones came out, even the strawberry. It's kind of funny how random it is. So yeah, that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me customize my second set of Russian nesting dolls. It was fun, mostly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye!